Welcome once again to Breakfast Central. As we kick off the second half, we are getting into a very important conversation. We also have joining us, as part of this conversation, Ikechukwu Amechi. He, of course, will join the conversation. But before then, let's quickly share with you. In 1996, the world's biggest research-based pharmaceutical company, Pfizer, was sued after 11 children died in a clinical trial where in a northern state, Kano, was hit by Africa's worst ever meningitis epidemic. 100 children were given an experimental oral antibiotic called Trovan, while a further 100 received ceftriaxone, which is a gold standard treatment for modern medicine in treating it. Now, there were claims that Pfizer did not have proper consent from parents to use an experimental drug on their children, and questions were raised over the documentation of the trial after 5 children died of Trovan and 6 on ceftriaxone, I beg your pardon. Legal action filed against the company alleged that some received a dose lower than recommended, leaving many children with brain damage, paralysis, or slurred speech.
The intriguing part of this entire episode began when U.S. diplomatic cable uncovered by WikiLeaks revealed that Pfizer hired investigators to look for evidence of corruption against the former Nigeria Attorney General, Michael Aondoakaa, in an effort to persuade him to drop the legal action. He was equally accused of diverting funds meant for victims. Joining us this morning is Chief Michael Aondoakaa. Good morning, sir, and thank you very much and welcome to the show.
Good morning.
So I think the first question would ask would be that you please clarify the role that you played and how you've been linked to the Pfizer case. Of course, recently, fresh information has emerged regarding this matter, alleging that you diverted funds. So talk to us about the role that you played in the Pfizer case and the allegations.
Thank you very much for giving me that opportunity. First and foremost, Pfizer matter started before I came in as Attorney General in 2007. My predecessor was quite aware on it. This matter happened in Kano, and the Kano State government sought the support of the federal government in apprehending the Pfizer directors that were directly involved. So in 2007, when I became the Federal Attorney General, the governor of Kano State sought support of the federal government in 2 ways. First was how to bring the directors of Pfizer and persons, Pfizer officials that were involved to stand trial in Kano State. And the president directed the request of the Kano State governor to my office. And we gave them all the support they needed. First, we gave the fee to the prosecuting person engaged by Kano State government. We did not actually engage anybody. Kano State government engaged a very competent and accomplished lawyer, Professor Yemi Osabanjo, who later became the vice president. And upon their request, I granted them the fee to prosecute because the matter was a federal offense, and they gave them all necessary support by making a request under the Mutual Legal Assistance Treaty with my counterpart in the United States to apprehend the officials and send it back to Nigeria for trial. We did not stop there. We also obtained a warrant of arrest from the competent court, Federal High Court, and the warrant was given to the Office of Attorney General, which I also sent to Interpol to apprehend the officials. That is the role I played. Now, before you know, Kano State government had set up a committee. They had the data of all the people affected. But let me clear a misconception. There was the suit, Pfizer, that was filed. No amount of such magnitude was given as judgment to infer that we diverted funds. It was a claim. Not that was what was approved by Pfizer, it was diverted. So, but that was done by Kano State government in conjunction with their lawyer, and the support I gave was to give them the necessary fiat and to ensure that Pfizer, I contact my counterpart in the United States for them to be brought to justice in Nigeria.
I mean, you know, but
I was surprised when I heard that.
yeah, I'm apologies for jumping in there. I just wanted to ask, you know, you just mentioned justice. Would you regard that as justice? 75 billion naira for the victims, of course, you know, gotten by the Kano State government's ruling.
Well, first and foremost, when I came to the table, when I came as Attorney General, Pfizer officials came to me, and the compensation they were trying to offer Kano State government was 100,000 naira per person. They were basing on the fact that if a Nigerian policeman dies on duty, his compensation is 100,000 naira. And that actually made me a little pissed off. I told them, the officials, that the children that died, some could have become the president of Nigeria, some could become the richest man in Africa or in the world, and some could even be the United Nations Secretary General. So the issue of comparing those who died and cutting their life short but unauthorized medical trial of such magnitude cannot be compared to the compensation of the Nigerian police force. That is a different matter. And that was the basis. But you see, when you talk about fairness, we are practicing a federation. And Kano State government was on the matter occurred in Kano State. They set up their committee. Their limitation was that the central authority under mutual legal assistance treaty between Nigeria and United States is the Office of Attorney General on the side of Nigeria and the Office of Attorney General on the side of. So Kano State couldn't have gone directly. Their request to us was to support them by bringing these people to them, because they were the people that recommended the appointment of a prosecutor, not federal government. Two, no single person died in Abuja. Everything, the data of what happened was with Kano State government and the Minister of Health, and they were working on it. So what we did, if you are talking of fairness, that you should have asked the Kano State government. Collecting 75 million for the date of, you said 11 people and the injury of others was fair. That could happen. Again, Pfizer said they were going to build the children's hospital. They requested from us. Actually, they wanted the national hospital, and we told them that I particularly, not we, I told them nothing happening in Abuja. They should go direct their request to Kano State government and ensure that the children's hospital is built in Kano, not us, because the victims were directly the people of Kano State. So the issue of fairness, to me, is relative. Not that the claim of 1 billion was successful in court and judgment was entered for $1 billion, and we turn around, Kano State turned around to collect $75 million. It was a claim, not a judgment. That is the misconception people are saying. There was nothing. The matter did not go to trial to the extent that judgment was entered for that amount. Kano State Committee entered into negotiation directly with Pfizer. Federal government was not involved. My office was not involved.
All right.
And whatever was paid was also paid directly to Kano State government.
Okay, we'll come back to talk some more about this. This morning we're also joined by guest journalist Ikechukwu Amechi, who will then be joining us to have further conversations on this.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure, sir, talking to you once again. You may have forgotten, but while you were Attorney General, I came to Abuja to interview you in your house. It's been a long time, so it's my pleasure talking to you again.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but I am quite puzzled by what you just told us now about an international pharmaceutical company coming to your office and looking you in the face and telling you what the value of a Nigerian child is. I didn't see that level of outrage. How should a country react in such circumstances? Yes, despite the fact that everything happened in Kano and it ought to be a Kano affair, but Nigeria as a sovereign nation came into it. Shouldn't you, as Attorney General of the Federation, at that point in time, have stamped to your feet and said, no, this is what we want as a nation, rather than saying it is a Kano affair because it happened in Kano?
Wait, let me cut you short and tell you. In a federation, when the government makes a specific request, then you cannot exceed. Kano State made a specific request. Kano State did not ask us to negotiate with Pfizer. Kano State specifically requested for the mutual invocation of mutual legal assistance treaty. Kano State also specifically requested for us to contact these are the two requests from Kano State government to the president of President Yaradua, which he asked me to work on the two requests. But beyond that aspect, I set up a template. And the template was your negotiation, which was more advisory, should not be below $1 million for somebody who died, as against 100,000 naira. And that was the complaint. And you sold to me that 11 people died. That was the template I said to them. For me to grant this, you Kano people, the committee must ensure that the takeoff template is not below $1 million as against 100,000 for a victim. And I cannot go now. It will look funny. Kano as a federation set up a committee. Kano as a federation made two requests. And then I granted the request, which was within the powers of the Federal Attorney General. I don't think it's proper within the doctrine of separation of powers in the federation for me to dive into the matter. Mind you, hate matters on the concurrent list, not on the exclusive list. So if Kano is doing something on a particular hate matter, and they only ask for a limitation, Kano did not say, I have brought this file, take over the file, set up a committee, and then negotiate. Kano made two requests for us. Kano also set up a committee headed by a retired justice of the Court of Appeal. So it was not possible for us to come in beyond the limit of, beyond the request of Kano State government. I do appreciate your feelings. I share the same feeling. But look at it two ways. It was appearing as if it is the Federal Attorney General, which was me, that is interested in prosecuting Pfizer. Pressure was everywhere, even within the country. Drop this matter, this and that, but I went ahead. I gave Kano what they demanded. If I had gone beyond that, it could have looked as if I am going beyond the limit of requests of Kano. And of course, Kano State had already had a competent committee to negotiate with them. Their lawyer was one of the best lawyers in the country.
All right.
Who now later became the vice president. How do you expect me to have said just that they made a request for me, two requests, and I will take over the what they wanted to do?
Yeah,
I don't think
we're
you
gonna
could see. Let's remove emotions. Let's remove a look here. Look at the reality. The reality is it has come out. Pfizer wanted me not even to grant the fiat. They hire people to dig issues of corruption. They got nothing. As I'm talking now, I don't have a single account anywhere in the world other than Nigeria. So they got nothing. The role I was to play, I played to the end. Any other observation which I'm trying to clear, which you have given me an opportunity to clear, was an inference that money was paid to federal government and we handed over to Kano. No, go and check your records anywhere. Money was paid directly to Kano State government.
Yeah.
The issue of building a hospital for the children was also handled directly. If they received and built, go and ask Kano.
All right.
Not me.
We're gonna, still talk about this.
₦1 to enter through the Ministry of Justice.
Yeah. While we're still talking about it, you mentioned, you getting involved as the AGF, and of course, you refusal to get involved in things, in Kano State. I'm going to bring that up, in a bit, but I would like you to first of all speak about the blackmail, against you by Pfizer, the orchestrated blackmail against you by Pfizer. Give us, what those details were about, and how you also were able to prove your case.
Expected. It was the state secret document released by WikiLeaks that came out that Pfizer hired people to blackmail me, to dig on me. That was what was there. You can assess it. It's unfortunate that an international company of that nature will go to that extent to blackmail somebody that should not grant a fiat for their prosecution. Go ahead to blackmail somebody that I should not issue a warrant or communicate a warrant which was validly issued by a federal high court to Interpol to get them arrested. These are the two key things the federal government did to support Kano State government and laid to them coming to negotiate with Kano State government. If we had not issued a warrant to arrest them, I don't think they would have even bothered. If I am not willing to, if they have not, we have not sought requests through the mutual legal assistance treaty. But whatever that was needed, we did. But they went about blackmailing me. One of the blackmail which came to light, until report came out and we started digging, was I paid Aondoakaa community, and my law firm participated in 2006. And I paid them when I became Attorney General, which is an issue of conflict of interest. We could not see the file. At that time, I was in the dark. I didn't know. But evidence came out again from Minister of Justice that the money was paid in 2006. I became Federal Attorney General in 2007. The law firms that participated in that Aondoakaa community dispute was... there was a fire outbreak, pipeline outbreak that affected the community. The lawyers who participated were headed by no less a person than Alpha Babaro, you see? And everything finished in 2006, fully paid. When I became Attorney General, they came for a request for me to review issue of interest, and I turned it down that they had been paid. But they went to court. The Pfizer instigated them against me, thinking I was the one who made the payment. But the payment was done 2006 by Chief Bayojo. The records are there in the Ministry of Justice. And that is the basis in which we went that the judgment they obtained when I was in Rome doing as a member of unit drugship obtained, it was obtained by fraud. They couldn't deny it. The facts are there, the file is there. I think these are the kind of thing Pfizer did.
Okay.
And even the judgment, I was not served. I was out of the country. But Pfizer was doing, I can see the link. The same judge who was in Kano, who struck out Pfizer case, was the same judge who went to Calabar and then gave judgment against me that I was the one who did the Aondoakaa community as a private lawyer, and I became Attorney General, I paid them and shared the money. So you can see the connection, the extent in which Pfizer went to damage my reputation. But when you
So
believe
would you
in
say
God,
that the
things
judge,
work
would
for
you say that
yourself.
this same judge, would you say that this judge was, you know, a party to this and this judge was complicit? If yes, did you maybe bring up?
Yeah, I have the disconnection during the, you know,
Please go ahead.
I wouldn't have been involved because the case was struck out initially in Kano by the same judge who became a trial judge in the matter in Calabar when I left office in 2010. If they had not struck the case and the case commenced fresh, there wouldn't have been any basis to approach me for a fear because Bayojo had, during President Obasanjo, given them fear to prosecute. But the case was struck out and the Kano State was desirous and they are going ahead with the case. And the president sent everything to me, President Yaradua, and I worked for it.
Right.
Their pressure that time was this case was struck out, I should allow you to lie low. And I said no, the people who are involved must be protected.
All right. Let's talk about, let's move the conversation a little to the victims in Kano State. I came across a documentary 3 years ago, a documentary that was shot 3 years ago that talked about how there were about 3 of them who are yet to be compensated. And I don't know if you have information as to those who have been compensated. Do you have information? Can you say that all the victims and their families received compensation?
I will not be in a position, in the sense that from day one, the nature in which Kano State wanted to handle the issue of compensation themselves, I was afraid it was improper. I also was aware that Pfizer was blackmailing me about. So I confined myself to the role Kano State requested. And they claim the data, mind you, Kano did not even send us the data. They only reported the matter to the president and made requests, assist us to invoke the mutual legal assistance through the Office of Attorney General, assist us to communicate the arrest warrant against the Pfizer officials. So in public service, just like you say, you don't go beyond the limit, but you can advise. And that was why, in giving the fiat, I made an advice that please, Kano State officials, this argument of a policeman collecting 100,000 naira compensation cannot, as in the times of death on duty, should not be the basis on which you will negotiate with Pfizer. If you are negotiating with Pfizer, the bottom line should start from $1 million for any dollars and above for any person who got permanent incapacity or die. He should be made given from 1 million and above. And
all right.
when I mean 1 million, I mean $1 million US.
All right. In the interest of time,
which was.
in the interest of time, before we, because we will need to, wrap this up in a bit. I want to ask, you've been criticized a lot about your time as Attorney General. Do you think that there may be things that you could have done different? Because of course in 2010, your SAN was revoked. There's of course, the court case, that says that you should not be allowed to also hold public office again. I see that, sometime last year, of course, you made attempts to also have that reversed. Do you think that there are things you maybe could have done different in your time as AGF? And how have you handled life post that time?
All Pfizer antics. All that happened was all Pfizer antics.
No, it started with the case in Akwa Ibom, with Basi Edot. I think that's his name.
Case which I'm telling you now, that at the end of the day, that is the Akwa Ibom case, which now, throughout that time, the file was hidden. I was not in the country when the Akwa Ibom judge gave judgment. But now the file was discovered. And I have a copy of the request made under Freedom of Information. And it was discovered that the money was completely paid in 2006. So these are the kind of things that were happening. So an international giant gave money, find a way to rubbish Aondoakaa.
No, I'm referring to
this country were very
permit me,
willing.
sir. I'm referring to, I don't know if it's the same case we're talking about. There's the case of the election of Basi Obot.
That is the case. Yes, Justice. Yes, that is the case. And that is the very judge that was handling Pfizer case in Kano, which he stroked the case out, which I reinstated the case by the fiat I gave the former vice president to prosecute. So, but you see, there's something, nothing lasts forever. If the fire was not gotten, and I will tell you, Stanley is a man I have high respect. He met me in Lagos. He was he's a Yoruba man who was the director of civil litigation. No, the PAMSEC. And he said, I cannot continue to stomach this injustice. The fire of Utanambara community has been hidden. Write to us and we will respond and bring out the fire. If the fire was brought out, everybody was shocked. Everybody in Ministry of Justice was shocked. I was not involved. The payment took place in 2006. And I spoke to the lawyers who were involved individually, Joagi, and they were shocked to hear that I was being mentioned in it. So these are the kind of things. I remain grateful. That is why some people, wherever they come from, if they have a pure mind, they will not sit and watch injustice.
All right, sir. In the interest of time, we need to, you know, start to wrap things up. Let's have Ikechukwu Amechi also quickly throw in a quick question.
Well, sir, it is good that we are talking once again. Let me go back to the issue I raised earlier, and I am still worried. Yes, you said that the issue of health is in the concurrent list, and I agree. And if it is in the concurrent list, it then means both the federal and the state governments have jurisdiction over it. Now, the children that died or those that had permanent disabilities are Nigerian children, and the Nigerian state, as a sovereign state, has the right over to protect the citizens of Nigeria. I am still worried that the federal government, at the time it became apparent that there was harm to Nigerian children, could have taken over completely this case, no matter what ever the Kano State government was doing. That is number one. Then the second question is that, like I told you earlier, I came to Abuja to interview you. You remain one of the most maligned attorney generals in this country. Now that the facts are coming into the open, what Pfizer did, are you going to sue Pfizer to at least clear your name, or are you going to say, let it be, let bygones be bygones?
No, I am, you see, weekly list is classified document that was released. The person who released the documents is already under prosecution by the State Department in US. So what I have done is I've written to the President Ahmed Tinubu to protect me from Pfizer. That's the first step I have taken. On the issue of the judgment, any judgment that is obtained by fraud, no matter how long it is, once the fraud is discovered, the court will set aside by a fresh act. And that is exactly why I said I will not talk about detail, because it will be prejudice. But once I have obtained certified copy of the payments that was made 2006, I have got certified copies of all the lawyers that participated. It is now for trial. The court should know whether it was our a spirit. Because in 2006, I was not Attorney General. I was not even in Abuja. I was practicing in Makodi. And so I could. Certainly, when you are doing something and your conscience permits you, you go ahead. My conscience, I came in and our government felt that if the country is ruled on law, I will be fine. That's why we restored integrity. If I tell you we restored the integrity of government contracts, you'll be surprised. And let me give you briefly before you shut me out. Before I came in, government will award a contract. 10% mobilization will be done. The next year, the contract will not be in the budget. The contractor will sue the federal government. Certainly, Minister of Justice will have no defense. Then damages will be awarded. And most of the contracts will have arbitration clause outside the country. When I came in Attorney General, I insisted in council that if a minister is going to award a contract, he must satisfy us that there was no such similar contract. And if the contract is going to last more than 1 year, he will not initiate another similar contract, or he will not make another request until that contract provisions are made to the conclusion. I think I did something at least that is good.
Yeah, well,
that was why under President Yaradua, if you get a contract, the paper were as good as money, because the contract will flow to the end of the country. At least I did what was right.
Yeah. All right.
But these were things that people were not ready to take the initiatives. And now you hear judgments all over. When the P&ID came up, who was the first person to be accused? Was Aondoakaa. Was I involved? No. I was rather one of the lawyers that ensured that we got judged. We gave the necessary support to the UK lawyers and we obtained judgment. But all the newspaper came out, my picture.
Right. In the interest of time,
Aondoakaa has put Nigeria into problem.
yeah. Apologies. In the interest of time, we would have to close things here. I would ask, can I quickly ask if you would grant us another interview so we can x-ray further? There's other details like what you've just brought in out, the P&ID. I would also like us to speak about your attempts to reinstate your SAN and also your ability to run for office again. If you can grant us another interview, it would be nice to bring those things into perspective.
I didn't make anything when I was suspended. When another Chief Justice came, Justice Mukhtar, she did not, the lady Chief Justice, she looked at the facts. I said no. The committee that tried me exonerated me. The report is Justice Abutu.
All right.
The committee cleared me. I should not see how I was suspended. The committee that set up cleared me, yet I was suspended. Was it not funny?
Yeah, we would have to wrap up, the conversation here. I apologize.
So that is a kind of thing.
Yeah, it's been a very, very interesting conversation with you.
Proposing another conversation. But let me conclude also. The most important thing, I thank God and people like you that gives me the opportunity to open up and let them know the truth.
Yes, thank you very much for sharing with us what your side of the story is, and at the end of the day, we hope that the truth does come to light fully. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to having you again.
Yeah, thank you. Don't be a doubting Thomas. The truth is already out. We have won the P&ID case. At least that one, you knew that the truth is out and everything.
No, I'm talking about, I mean, for everyone to see, but then again, I hear you correctly. Thank you so much for your time.
Everyone is there. Everyone, the truth is out. The other one, I say, Kano collected money. I want you to direct your energy to Kano.
We will do that. We'll head to Kano, and that'll be our next point of call to continue the conversation. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time with us, sir.
Thank you.
All right, and now it's time for us to look through the page.